to have our leaders, Pastor Ssentongo Joshua, and the elder, Pastor Ssentongo Joshua, our leader from Central Uganda Conference. Pastor Ssentongo, you're welcome. We want to appreciate
you can unmute. I can't hear you yet.
Okay, I'm saying I'm not able to share the screen because I'm limited to share. So
okay. Mr. Musa is going to make a post so that you can be able to share, I guess.
Okay.
Mr. Musa Waiswa, please, you can make him a co-host. Mr. Waiswa, can you hear me?
Well, Elder Waiswa Musa, through the MC, we are reminding you to make the facilitator co-host.
Hello, Kruger and
Yes.
Samuel. Thank you so much. This is Ruth. I request humbly our pastor to say hello to us and do the introduction as I coordinate that so that he can be made co-host.
Otherwise, I received the presentations from Elder Muvoki. I can also share them.
All right. In the meantime, let me see that
You can
he's
share in the meantime.
so pastor can use this time so that we save it.
yes, but mine may seem somehow different, but nevertheless we can begin.
Okay, Pastor.
Okay, as we are getting in touch with Elder Waiswa, good afternoon, everyone, because we are here and we want to know and let every participant to know that music is part of worship. Music is part of worship. And
Pastor, excuse me. You can now share. Kuruga, please stop, and then Pastor can share. Has been made the co-host. Thank you.
Hey, okay.
thank you very much. I was saying that music is part of worship. Yes, I was saying that music is part of worship, and wherever we are handling music, it is always such a problem when we are dealing with younger people. Therefore, I'm saying that music is very, very, very important in everyday life. Music is a language of which we are accepted to use. Therefore, when we talk about music, we are saying, when we talk about music, we are saying that we need to know how best we can liaise or how best we can connect with our Creator. Therefore, we begin with this verse, 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 15. So what shall I do? I will pray with my spirit, but I will also pray with my mind. I will sing with my spirit, but I will also sing with my mind. This is a verse that came to us that was written after some problem that had risen in the church of Corinthians. Remember, chapter 14 of 1 Corinthians begins with the speaking of tongues and the gift of tongues and prophecy. After having heard that one, then there came, how can people pray in spirit? How can they pray in mind? How can they sing in spirit? And how can they sing with mind? I happened to be a teacher in one of the schools, and by the way, I'm a professional teacher. Then I want us to think about this question. What is it then? Whenever somebody asks a question, what is it then that question is always coming after some problems or after there is something bad that has happened and we are trying to get solutions of it. What is it then is often used when a difficult arises in any case. Then the question is, what is it then? What is to be done? What is most prudent? What is advisable? What is eligible? What is proper to be determined and resolved on in each case? So we are handling music as a subject in the church, and this has been a problem to every congregation where we come from. At times we are not accepted to practice singing in our churches, and then we are limited to some extent. Then now, what are we saying? Are we supposed to stop? Are we supposed to leave that gift which is given to us? Are we just being reminded that we should not do this? We are saying no. Every church member must practice music in the church, must be a singer. Therefore, we are saying, since music is a language, let the word of Christ dwell in you richly as you teach and admonish one another with all wisdom, and as you sing psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs with gratitude in your hearts to God. We should never sing. We don't want to sing. We are advising not to sing. We are saying we should not sing to people so that we sing and people say that, we have sung, but we have to sing praising God. We have to sing focusing on God. We have to sing praising what the Lord has done. Never should we ever sing that we want to be seen by the people, or we are just in theaters, we are practicing, we are telling people that you see what we are doing. That one should never be in our mind. That is why many of us, when we stand to sing, we are singing to be seen by the congregations. And that one is out of order. Elder Mboki will tell us more about that. But what we are saying, the major areas of our study today, we are talking about music administration, philosophy and theology of music, art of music. All these topics are very, very, very important, but then we will handle art of music when we get another time. Music leadership is the subject tonight. What is the structure of leadership in music? We have been having many problems in our local congregations. We don't know where to begin. We don't know where to end. Here is the structure of music. We are saying that the structure of music must always begin with the pastor and the church elder. When these people are not in the know of what music is in the local church, then we are subject to get problems. That is why we are saying the church board must be the center of all musicians, of all music, of all sorts of artists in the church, be it single artists, be it a group, be it a choir, all must come from the church board, because it is the church board that owns you. It is the church board that owns you, the musician. It is the church board that owns you who sing in the congregation. Then, having known that the music begins with the church board as the structure, then we come to music committee. And the music committee is just comprised of the chorister, the Sabbath school music director, the church choir director or leader, instrumentalist, and departmental music director leader. Without that structure in our local church, we are subject to mess up. Therefore, we are saying, if we are to worship God in music, this structure must be found and must be put in our congregations. Because this is what shows that there is leadership in the church. Nobody would always claim that this is my choir, this is my group. All musicians belong to the church board, and that is why we are saying nobody should ever sing when he or she is not a choir member of that church. And that one is very serious, because very many people have run from different areas coming to join different churches, and they begin ministering in these local churches when they were just put on discipline in those local churches. That is why we are saying this music leadership structure should always be followed in our local churches. Music structure at church board. The music committee is made up of the following: the music director, chorister, Sabbath school music director, choir leader of all choirs. The music director's role. What is the role of the music director? When you are elected as a music director, what is your what are you expected of? What is the church board wanting to see you doing? What is the report that you'll always be giving in the church board? The music coordinator director sits on the church board. If you are a music director and you do not sit on the church board, then it is better you resigned yesterday. It is better you resigned yesterday. Every music director should sit on the church board. Therefore, there are no 3 music directors in the local church. There must be 1 music director in the local church. That is to say, all singing groups are under this 1 music director. So if these singing groups are not represented on the church, they will always be fighting. They will always be finding room where to be occupied. But when they fail, that is why you will not always see them. They'll be loitering, moving around. All the levels should be represented in the same way. The local church, district, station, zone, the conference. For example, I'm a leader of music at the field, at the conference. So I sit at the ADICOM. Therefore, when you are selected or elected as a music coordinator, make sure you sit on the church board to present matters of the church board. Coordinate with a music committee at the conference field and union. We are looking for reports and we are not getting them because the committees that were put or were set at the local churches are not functional. Had they been functional, then these reports could always be coming in time. Therefore, we are saying that when you are elected as a music director, you are a coordinator. You need to coordinate with music committees at the conference, field, and union, where you come and sit for advice advisories. Music directors ensure there is good praising of God by the congregation and the singing groups. Yes, that is very, very important, because when we sing in the church, we are not saying we are singing to people, but we are singing to God. Therefore, we are saying, ensure there is good praising of God by the congregation and the singing groups. Ensure the church has necessary equipments for music ministries. This is a problem. We do not have such in our local congregations. But if your church have, who is responsible for them? Therefore, music is a department of the church, and all the instruments that are bought and put in the church by a certain group, those are for the church. Thank you for buying them. Thank you for soliciting money for them. But had you not been in that church, you wouldn't have gotten them. Therefore, we are saying, just present them to the church board, and then the church board takes care of them, because you are the director and you will be in charge of those instruments. Present all music matters in the church to the church of the church in the church board. You need to coordinate all singing groups in the church. That is very, very important. You are the coordinator of all the singing groups in the church. Mention how many there are. The young adult choir, the children ministries choir, Adventist men choir, women ministries choir, any singing group you have mentioned, all those are singing groups in the church. Therefore, you are the coordinator of all of them. Know the singing groups and the members. When those singing groups are there, you need to know them and its membership. Nobody should join the singing group without the consent of the church board or without a prior knowledge of you, the music director. Therefore, let them register. Keep a profile for all singing groups. Have files for them. Ensure that these files are kept. When there is something wrong going on, then you are subject to give an answer. Ensure there are choristers in the church. As a director, you need to know how music is done in the church. You need also to know the art of music. Therefore, we need that chorister who stands before the congregation and gives us a song. He begins, and then he begins choristering in front of the congregation. Ensure each department has music leader and coordinates the kind of music presented. That is very, very important. When it is children choir, it has a leader. When women, it has a leader. All those follow under you, the one person who was elected by the nominating committee, and you are subject to be sitting on the church board. All that is your responsibility. The music director works together with the committees to ensure that the church has choristers. Yes, the committee will be put there, and then it looks critically and it checks, it assesses, it examines who best should to be a chorister in the church. Because not everyone is a chorister. No, not everybody in the church is a chorister. A chorister is always trained. So we need to have a trained chorister to lead us in worship music. Prepare music seminars, meetings in the local church. That is very, very important, because when those are prepared, that is where you will always get reports to submit at the district, at the station, at the field, at the conference. coordinates the music to be sung in worship. As a music director, you need to coordinate all the music that will be sung the next Sabbath, that is to be sung this Sabbath. Therefore, you are in the know of every type of music that is going to be presented in the church. We don't want sambara music in worship. So you are very, very, very important in music selection and the choirs that are going to present. That is very, very important. Ensure the songs are learned by the church. There are new songs in our hymns, and nobody will ever teach these new songs in the congregation. Make sure as a music director, you get in touch with people who know these new songs, who can read the art of music, who know the art of music, who can sing solo fast, to make sure that these new songs are learned. They were not meant to be pictures in the song books. No, all the hymns in the song, in the hymnals are to be sung. Let it be for children. Let also the old people, the elderly also learn how to sing children songs. Encourage church members to own hymn books and encourage song service in families. Therefore, we are saying we need to have as many as we can, those hymn books in the local church, to make sure that every member in the church can participate in the singing. Yes, we are .com today, and we have projectors. Yes, the projectors are there. What if electricity went off? Won't we sing? What if we are at home? Does every church member have a projector to project these songs? No, we are saying if there are projectors in the church, those projectors are meant for the visitors who come to visit our local churches when they don't know what we do. But as members who are baptized into the Seventh-day Adventist Church, make it a point to own your hymn book, your hymn book, your hymn book. Make reports to the church board. That one was said, and business meeting. That is when we'll get to know that you are a good director and you are doing what you were elected for. 2, composition of church choir. All church members are welcome, including youth, children, elderly, and younger adult. Youth and children choirs are church choirs. All singing groups, choirs, are choirs. Therefore, we are saying when there is a choir in the church, make sure that every member in the church is a member of the choir. Because when we announce that let us sing hymn number 1, it is not the choir that is going to lead in the singing in the entire congregation. No. Everybody in the church is a choir member and they must learn how to sing. That is why we said that every member in the church should practice singing. They should learn the new songs in the church for them to be participating always. That is why we are saying the choir is composed of all members, the youth, the children, the elderly. All are members of the church choir. But how do they become members of the church choir? They must register to be members of the choir. Let it be a singing group. Let it be an a cappella group. All of them must register to be singing. And if it happened to be in my church, I wouldn't allow choirs that have not registered with my church. These choirs who visit us, they are also a problem to us. That is why we are saying they need to be formalized. They need to know where they belong. They need to know what they are supposed to do. That is why we are handling music in SYL. Number 3, formalizing singing groups. Yes, we have singing groups, but how can they be formalized? All singing groups, choirs that is not a church choir should belong to one local church board. There is no business. Let me take for example, we have the Source of the Nile Church. If there is somebody coming from the Source of the Nile Church and wants to present or wants to be in a choir in Njeru, that one is not accepted. We are saying all singing groups, choirs that is not a church choir should belong to one local church board. We don't mind no matter how many choirs, how many singing groups are in that congregation, but they must belong. They must belong in the same church board. However, those in different churches should be discouraged and seek the local church board for approval of a member to be attached to a particular singing group. If I'm a member of Chireka Hill Church and I want to be ministering in Chireka Town Church, Chireka Town Church will not accept me without the consent of the church board at Chireka Hill. Therefore, we want to put everything in order. Anyone to minister in the church, anyone to hold an office in the church must be a member of that particular church. And that is why when you are baptized as a Seventh-day Adventist church member, you are baptized into the Seventh-day Adventist church, but in a particular church. You cannot leave Uganda and you go to South America and then you say that you want to be ministering there. No, that is not in order. We are saying you are a singing group, you are a choir member, you need to belong to that same church. If you don't belong from that same church, let us formalize that one. Let us receive letters from the different, from the church body where you're coming from, them accepting you and allowing you to be singing in this church. Nevertheless, and I don't want you to forget this one, you must also be singing in the church where you are coming from. If I'm coming from Chireka Hill and I want to be singing in Chireka Town Church, the voice I'm using to sing in Chireka Town Church is the same voice I have to use at Chireka Hill Church. Therefore, make sure that you sing in both choirs for you not to, for the church not to be doubting your spirituality. Regional choirs should be highly discouraged. Regional choirs should be highly discouraged. They don't benefit the local church and they are not easy to monitor. They are not easy to monitor. They don't benefit the local church. Today they are here, tomorrow they are at the other church, the other day they are at the other church, the other day they are just in the other church. Therefore, we are saying it is not in order to have regional choirs. Choirs belong to a particular church board, a particular congregation. A must for every chorister music leader. This one must be committed. Must be committed. He or she need to commit, you need to commit your spiritual life wholly to God. If you are a chorister or a music leader, commit yourself to God first, because you are leading a group that has problems. Remember, all musicians are good, but because the devil was once a musician, the devil is fighting still for that position. That is why we have very many problems in so many choirs, Just look where you come from. You are from a different region. Don't you have problems with singers in the local church? Yes, if those problems are there, get to know that the devil is fighting for that ministry because he was once in that ministry. As a chorister, come early to the church. You need always to be the first at the church to select the music that is going to be used in worship. As a music leader, set your mood. Have a positive attitude towards the department that you are given, towards the ministry that you are given. Always be smart before God and before the congregation. The issue of dressing t-shirts, the issue of wearing jeans in front of the congregation, that one is not smart. Those clothes are used in their own places. But you need to look decent before God. You need to look decent before the congregation. Therefore, be smart. Be smart whenever you stand before the congregation leading worship in music. Plan the song to be used in worship on Sabbath. The songs you need to use every Sabbath must be planned. You can say that this quarter we are going to sing from song number 1 to this. Those are 12 songs, or 18 songs, or 20 songs. Don't be disturbed. Make sure that you also write a program. You put a program of the music that we are going to have. That is good planning. We are saying plan the songs to be used in the worship on Sabbath, every Sabbath. Because you are the director of music, plan for them. However, Ssentongo might come and he's the one responsible to preach that day. And my sermon has got a song to match with. Yes, because it is not an abrupt, he is not an abrupt preacher. Make sure he gives you or she gives you a song he or she is going to use in the sermon. That looks to be very organized. Every chorister, prepare the congregation for the song. Let the song get prepared for the song that is going to be sung. Plan the singing carefully. Avoid surprising the congregation. Avoid surprising the congregation. Why do we need to plan singing carefully? We need to plan singing carefully because everything we do in the church must be in order. Everything we do in the church must be in order. Tell the congregation that we are going to sing stanza number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Whenever you announce the song, if you are interested in stanza 1 and the last stanza, tell them. But that one, hear it from me, we are discouraging it. If you are selecting a song, let it be sung. All the stanzas should be sung. Don't sing one stanza, don't sing the other stanza. We are saying plan the singing. If you want a row to sing stanza number 1, tell them that we are going to sing hymn number 20. Stanza number 1 is going to be sung by row number 1. Stanza number 2 is going to be sung by row number 2. Number 3 sung by row number 4. And then stanza number 5 is going to be sung by women or men. Let the congregation be prepared. Then as a chorister, you look more organized in singing. You don't need to surprise the congregation. Coordinate and plan with the pastor, preacher, the songs that will be used for sermon or the message. That one I have said. If I'm to preach to your church, contact me. Let me give you songs that are going to be used when I'm presenting the sermon. Prepare 15 minutes of praises. Every Sabbath before a sermon is presented before you, let the church go into 15 minutes congregational singing. That one will enable us to know all the songs in the hymn book. It should not be time for us to be learning songs. If you are organizing that we are going to learn a new song in the 15 minutes, let it come first, and then let us use 5 minutes or 10 minutes when we are learning that one. And when it is well grasped, then we go to another one. Let us have order in singing in the church. Teach new songs, but not neglecting the old ones. The new songs must be taught, but the old ones also not to be neglected. Practice the songs. Whenever you are at home, whenever you are at church, practice the songs. Be creative. Do not use the same greeting all the time. Sabbath though. No, be creative. Do not use the same greeting. God is good all the time. All the time, God is good. That one is too monotonous for every church. Be creative. You can sing a stanza and then ask the congregation, which song is this? And then you tell them, now we are going to sing song number 1, because you have sung a stanza, or you have given a background, or you have given a history of that song. Then that one, you become more creative. Make remarks of welcome and let the congregation feel welcome. Whenever I stand before the congregation, welcome them in worship, in music. Make remarks. If they have sung good, yes. Tell them that it is marvelous. Never should you criticize the singers. No, don't tell them that you are singing like people who have lost somebody. Then you are not worthy to be a chorister in the church. You should always be positive. Don't be negative before the congregation. Your negativity will draw back your ministry. But your positivity, you being positive to every song, will lead you to a success. They will always be praising you. Every chorister, do not sing to pass time. Let it be for our purpose. Every music that is sung in the church is sung for a purpose. It is not passing time. That is why I said, if you are singing, sing the whole stanzas. If there are 4, sing them. Do not make fun. Don't joke unnecessary. Mistakes which disrupt the congregation. That one, as I've said. Include the children's songs in the singing. That one is very, very important. When you sing children's song, you will hear the children singing more louder than you, the older people. You practice that one next Sabbath, you will see. Or that they are not in the church, but you would have heard. You would have heard. There's one time when I went to the church, when we are still in lockdown, and I presented a song that is always used to be sung in secondary school. And that family had 4 secondary school students. When that song was brought, it was sung the best I have ever heard. And the older people were saying, we don't have this song, and yet it was in their hymn book. Therefore, include children's songs in the singing. We said, let the church learn new songs, then practice how to stand on stage. Standing on stage is very, very, very important. You need to practice that one also if you are a chorister. Note, service begins in the morning with the first song. Yes, every first song in the morning when we are beginning the services is very, very important. That is where you introduce yourself. That is where you welcome all the members. Whenever you stand before them, tell them that feel at home. We are going to praise God. We are going to worship God in music. Then that one is very, very important. Note number 2, check out all of the 4 authors who wrote the hymn on the left side or the right side of the hymn book. It is very, very important. Those are the new innovations. That is the innovation you have put in place. Let every song be given somebody who wrote it or who composed it. That is when they will come to know that you are really a good chorister. Own an SDA hymn, that one I told you before. Support your church to acquire musical machines. That one is very, very important. Dear members, we are coming to the end of this presentation. But we need to know that every type of music that is sung in the church, be it congregational, be it from the songbook, be it from a choir, be it from a singing group, that song must always be good and perfect before God. That is why I want to leave you with this verse, Romans 12, verse 1 and 2. I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable to God, which is your reasonable service. Verse number 2, and do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is good and acceptable and the perfect will of God. Dear younger leaders, dear fellow leaders, we have conformed to the world. The reason why we are presenting music today, we need to be transformed by renewing our minds, by even starting to stop what we have coped that is not good in worship, in music. It needs to be proven. It must be good. It must be acceptable. Good before God, accepted before God, proved by God. It must be proved by the church members. It must be good before the church members. It must be acceptable before church members. The issue of dancing in the church is not perfect will of God. No, it's not perfect. Many of us sing while dancing. That one is not acceptable. It is not good. That is why Paul is urging us, is telling us that we need to present bodies of a living sacrifice. They must be holy, acceptable to God, which is reasonable to service. When we stand to sing, when we stand to present, then it becomes a reasonable service. Therefore, we don't want to be conformed to the world, but let us transform from bad to good, from worst to best, in order to renew our minds, God to prove what we are presenting in music, to worship God the best way, God to accept our presentations in whatever sort of music we are presenting that is worthy, and then that is when we will be proved to be better musicians and singers in the church. God bless you. Thank you very much. We will answer all the questions after Moses has presented. Stay blessed.
Thank you so much, Pastor Joshua. Yeah, thank you for your time and thank you for this wonderful presentation. I hope that you have picked a message from it. Yeah, I hope we shall be able to answer all of the questions at the end. I'll read them out to the pastor to answer them. And then yeah, the pastor and the Elder Moses will be able to answer the questions at the end. In order to complete the two presentations in time, we shall definitely have to switch to the other presentation. I hope Elder Moses Moboki, you are on and ready to take it from here. Thank you everyone for keeping time and making it to today's training. Moses,